Hello and welcome back to Little Drops of Wonderful. This is my channel where I talk about all things to do with my making life and my creating, my crochet, my knitting and all the other crafts I get up to. I'm about to start a very large cross stitch project, but I will share information about that in a second. It's very sort of dark wood background, and the reason for that is I am in my bedroom sitting on the floor and I have just been pinning out, and it's been quite a complicated process, my Getting Ziggy shawl, which was an advent project I made with yarn from the Curated Yarn Company. I've used the whole advent minus 2 colours, so there's 22 times 20 gram minis, and I've used the whole lot to make this project. It looks spectacular. It's going to be quite difficult to show you, but hopefully by tomorrow I'll be able to hold it up. But I thought I'd just show you what I've done. And then I thought maybe it might be fun this week to film my making week. I was feeling quite overwhelmed today. I've had a lot to do, and I realised that I was starting to make lists in my head about the crafting stuff that I want to get done. It was kind of like as an antidote to all the to-do lists and life stuff and work stuff. That I was starting to think of all the lovely things that I'm going to be doing, and I thought it might be fun to take you along with me. I want to get set up for a big cross stitch project. It's a temperature cross stitch project, which I spoke about in my last podcast. So my sister's given me a few little tips to get set up for a big project with lots of different colours. So I'm going to be doing that. So I thought that would be interesting to talk about. I wanted to show you the results of my blocking my Getting Ziggy. And I've got a few other things on the go as well. I am going to be filming another sort of vlog style making wrap up for the month of March, because everybody really seemed to enjoy the one I did in January. I did my wrap up for February in my normal sit down and podcast way. So I thought I'd do January as a vlog style wrap up, February as a sit-down podcast, March as another vlog style wrap-up, and just see how we go throughout the year. It makes it a bit more interesting for me to film it in different ways, and hopefully, yeah, I'm just rambling on and on when I could be showing you crochet, so let's show you. So here we have it. It is laid out on the floor at the end of our bed, and it is looking amazing. What I've done is I've got blocking mats, but I've only got like one set. So I had to be creative. So I've pinned out all the, what would you call this? The zigzaggy edge, as you can see here, because I figured that's the only bit that really needs a bit of shape. So I've just very, very lightly pinned it out. Oh, it goes on and on and on. It goes right up to the wall underneath the radiator. And all along here. And then I ran out of blocking mats, so that now we've got towels. So I've got a purple towel here, and then a brown towel here to take us all the way into the corner. It is absolutely mahoosive. I'm doing a really good job of showing it to you without showing you a mess. Very pleased with myself. Let's do a little bit of a close-up. Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? These colours are gorgeous. I'm gonna so love wrapping up in this. It's definitely too big to be a wear outdoors shawl. Well, look, there's my slippered feet for perspective. It's going to be another big triangular blanket, and I cannot wait. So let's get the dehumidifier back on, and hopefully the next time I show you this, it'll be finished and I'll be able to give you an idea of what it looks like. These are my leftovers, and I just wanted to say what I'm going to do with them. So I've got these tiny, tiny little bits that's going to go in one of my ugly blankets, which is where I make a giant granny square with all different very, very tiny scraps of yarn, or bigger scraps of yarn left over and things. I've got a few of them in different weights and sort of colour tones and things. So this is going to go in my lighter one. And then I've got 2 full 20 grams and 1 left over from the very last colour that went in. I think there's only about 5 grams here. So I'm going to try and get some shorty socks with these and maybe stripe them, or I might do a little accent at the top of each cuff with this one, and I don't know, that's what I'm going to do. I might actually leave them on the table and cast those on this week. I'm just sitting here crocheting a very, very basic little blanket, a little tiny blanket, and I'm using 2 little minis. I made my eldest daughter Lilia a pair of fabulous self-striping socks about 5 or 6 years ago. In fact, they are the socks that appear if you go to my sort of channel front page. I have a banner at the top. There's a picture of, I think, me in a yellow jumper with a fringe and a few other bits, and one of those pictures is a pair of feet wearing rainbow socks, and those socks are what I made with this yarn, and ever since then I've had 2 little balls of leftover self-striping yarn. Can't remember the brand. It was a commercial sock yarn, and it was a lovely gift actually. And they haven't done anything. They've just been sitting in my leftovers stash. So I'm making a little blanket. I'm just in the yellow now. I think next is green or blue. It's quite a dirty yellow. And then I think I'm going to do a little border. And the blanket is for our little friend here. Oh, I don't actually want to part with him. He is the softest thing. But I'm sure we will be going back to where we got him. So we got him from the donkey sanctuary. Him or her, we got them from the donkey sanctuary. We were down in, I'll just take the price off actually. We were down in Devon last week for a few days in half term. And we visited the donkey sanctuary because my sister for Christmas bought my husband Dan, she adopted him a donkey. Oh. Oops, I've got the thing here. She adopted him, Jasper. So we went along to the donkey sanctuary to visit. It's well worth visiting. I'll link it underneath. It's completely free to go, and they raise money through the stuff they sell in the shop and the restaurant, and we had a lovely lunch and everything. But I got this as a present for my sister to send to her as a thank you for the inspiration and everything. Although, like I say, I don't really want to part with him. And I got her a postcard to go with it from the donkey sanctuary. But I've got a little box here for him, and he just looked a little bit cold and lonesome in the box, just like that. So I thought he needed a blanket to travel. So that's what I'm doing. I've got a million other things to be doing. I've got to cook dinner. I've got to get ready to take my youngest daughter to her football training tonight. I've got to re-edit an entire vlog for my sort of adventuring daily vlog type channel, This Little Wonderful Life, that's got to go up tomorrow, and my iPad is being really problematic, so I've got to re-edit that. But instead I'm sitting at the table doing none of those things and crocheting a tiny blanket for a donkey that has to travel by post to Birmingham. Excuse the noise and the dodgy angle. I've just balanced my camera on top of a glass that's on the table from where we just had dinner. I made this little blanket as I was stirring and cooking rice and things and getting dinner ready. So it's all finished now. It was super quick. And I think it's probably the ugliest thing I have ever made in my entire life. It's horrible. But my sister will appreciate its hideousness. She will appreciate it. Do you appreciate it, Mia? She's not supposed to be on the table. And in fact, I cleaned it all down before we ate, and she was banished. And then I cleaned it all down after we ate, and now she's back on the table. You want to look at the blanket? She's very needy today, aren't you? She wants nothing but cuddles and human company. She's not our cat. She's next door's cat. But yeah, so hideous blanket for the donkey. Now I've got a cat on my lap, so I can't show you. But I'll show you tomorrow when I wrap him up and post him off. By the time this video goes up, she will have already received him. So, and I'm going to pop all my little implements back in here. This gorgeous, I love this pouch so much. I use this all the time. I keep it next to where I sit on the sofa for crafting. It's an Alice in Wonderland pouch. Look at the fabric. The fabric's lovely. This little cork tag is lovely. And look at the zip, the black and white fabric around the zip. This is by Natasha. I'll check I get this the right way round. There we go. Always Be Crafting. She has a YouTube channel, so I shall try to remember to link that underneath. But yeah, that was a really lovely gift, along with a few other bits from Natasha. And yeah, I use it all the time. It's really sturdy. It's quite an unusual shape with the diagonal zip, and it's just perfect for my scissors and a few stitch markers and a little pot of darning needles. Right, I'm off to take my youngest to football now, so I'll see you again tomorrow for Tuesday. We'll see what we're going to be crafting on then. I am back from posting all of the Strictly prizes and having what turned out to be a nearly 6-mile walk. I'm now on a housework kick. I'm going to spend the next couple of hours before my youngest gets home from school. And in doing so, I picked up this. I've been doing a big bookcase sort out, which I've been filming vlogs for on my other channel. And I pulled this off my shelf as I was doing it because my friend Emma, who has the lovely Eldenwood Craft podcast and business. She sells handmade bags and hand-dyed yarn. I will link her underneath. She gave me this because she was done with it and gave it to me because I'd said I'd never made anything by Stephen West. I'm wondering if I might just, on a whim, find some colours for because my big thing this year is to use my yarn stash. And a lot of these shawls look like really good ways to use yarns. It's got the expiration station in here, but that was really big a few years ago, wasn't it? So that might be just a fun kind of indulgent knit and a good way to use up 4 skeins of yarn. Has anyone made anything? That's nice, isn't it? Has anyone ever made anything from West Knits Best Knits #1 shawls? I feel like I would really like to make something by Stephen West because I don't know if I can call myself a knitter if I haven't. The Doodler. That was another one that was really popular a few years ago. That's really lovely. These all just sound like a lot of fun. Got so many single skeins of yarn as well that would just work so well. Vertices Unite, that's another one. I think Emma made one of these, but she made it in her colours, which are very sort of neutrals and beiges and browns. It was really lovely. Anyway, you don't want to see me just sitting on my bottom reading a magazine, but just because I'm distracting myself and hoovering and cleaning the bathroom. Right, I'm going to get on and tackle all of this, and then once I've done all this, I've got a load of emails and I want to catch up a bit on comments and things, and then I am going to treat myself to going to bed early with my laptop. I'm still catching up on some vlogmases, got some podcasts to catch up on, and some knitting or crochet in bed. That's what I'm going to do later. I'll see you then. I hope the dehumidifier is not making too much noise in the background there. I've come up to the bedroom. I'm not officially in bed yet. I've had such a day today, honestly. I know you've seen the crafting bits, but that's just a tiny part of what's been going on. I've been doing so much housework, so many chores. I've been ticking through my to-do list. I've been doing invoicing, some content planning. I've just got so much done in terms of life stuff, and I feel like I've really got through my to-do list and broken the back of it a bit, which is good for the overwhelm. But yeah, I'm getting all set up. I'm going to go back downstairs in a minute to make dinner for Dan and I. But I'm all set up, so after that I can just come up here and get really cozy, comfy with my laptop, watch some YouTube, and I've got all manner of crafty things here that I'm going to be working on, or selection, so I can pick and choose. But first I wanted to mention my Serious Light, which I've dragged upstairs and to put next to my bed, as I often do if I'm coming to bed for a sort of early crafting session. And that's because Serious Lights are sponsoring this video. I've been really lucky to work with them quite a bit this year so far, and it's so easy to talk about it because I genuinely use it every single day. I usually got it on the sofa downstairs as I'm sitting and crafting whilst we're watching telly together, but I do drag it up when I have my early crafting evenings, which just feels so luxurious. And Dan, my husband, often steals it. He really likes doing Lego, and he also likes doing jigsaw puzzles, so he'll often put it through in the kitchen over it's perfect height to go over our dining table, so he can see what he's doing and differentiate between colours and so on. He absolutely loves it, so it gets stolen a lot and very thoroughly used by the family. So I don't know if you can see, but the light, it's not a yellow light, it's a very clean, crisp, clear light, and that is because it uses something called daylight wavelength technology, which replicates as closely as technically possible the daylight spectrum. And I think I've said that correctly from memory. You'd think I'd be able to. I've said it enough times already. And that's the reason why I can sit and work on my crochet, my cross stitch, my knitting and so on for many hours without my eyes getting strained or anything. Best of all of the Serious Lights range come with a 5-year warranty, and they are hand built right here in the UK, and I've got £150 off for you if you use my code, which is my name, Ali, A-L-I, in capital letters. The link will take you straight to the landing page where it'll automatically apply your code. It's £150 off all of the Serious Lights high definition lights, and free delivery if you're in the UK as well. So that's all ready for me for when I come up after cooking dinner. I shall now show you what I've got here. I'm hoping I'm not going to run out of memory because I've really been lax at housekeeping on my memory card, so I'll go quite quickly. I've got all those little scraps of yarn that I was talking about for my ugly blanket, so I thought I'd just quickly show you my 2 ugly blankets because I haven't shown them on this channel for a while. So I've got this lovely, this is a very special bag. It's a hydrangea bag, and it's from Donna at the Knitting Pickle podcast. She made this for me, I think it was in 2018 she made it for me when my dad died. And hydrangeas, because I spoke about how much hydrangeas remind me of my childhood garden growing up. Yeah, very special. So I use this for a long-term project, which is going to be many years in the making. And this is my light coloured scrappy ugly blanket. My youngest daughter insists they're called lovely blankets, not ugly blankets, which is true. So they're just really scrappy. Every last little bit goes in. There's always a ton of ends to weave in, and this is my light version, and I've got an absolute ton of minis and leftovers in here that I need to add. And I've also, which I probably should sort out a bit and put more in bags because they're going to be a tangled mess. I might do that a bit later before I add those other little scraps. And then this one is my dark one. This bright orange and yellow with the black was a Lucifer themed yarn that I made Dan some socks from years ago. So this is a much darker ugly blanket as well. So I don't know, I just really love like the look of scrappy things as I'm making them. I don't know what they'll ultimately become, but I enjoy the using up of tiny little odds and ends and things. I'm getting a 2-minute warning. I've also got my socks that I've been working on. These are socks that I started whilst I was away in Devon because the yarn that I'm using is called Exmouth Beach, and we were on Exmouth Beach. We were staying right next to it. It's by my lovely friend Emma, who I mentioned earlier from Eldenwood Craft. It's a sock set that I bought from her very first yarn update. And I am making the Bibbidi Bobbidi socks by Kay Janes of the Bakery Bears, and I'm just loving it. It's got me back, got my knitting mojo back. This is the first sock. I'm knitting them concurrently. So I'm going to go back and pick up the other sock in a minute. I might do that tonight as well. I don't know, I haven't decided. That's how it's looking so far. Look at the lovely cuff. I've never done something like that before. Nice little detail on the cuff there. So yeah, I started these on the road down to Devon, and then I took a picture of them, which I'll put on the screen, and I put it on Instagram, on Exmouth Beach, which I thought was amazing. I completely forgotten I'd bought it, but when I was telling Emma that I was going to Devon, she said, do you remember you bought that yarn? So I ran and found it and balled it up immediately so I could take it with me. I also want to start organising my threads for my temperature cross stitch, which I still haven't shown you, but I might leave that for tomorrow. Yeah, might leave that for tomorrow. So I'm going to go and cook dinner, then I'm going to come up here and get cosy and start crafting, and I will see you tomorrow. Wednesday. I alternate every 2 weeks when I work Wednesdays and Thursdays at the moment, because Dan, my husband, goes to university 2 Wednesdays out of every 4. So I'm at home today, which is nice because it's a rainy day, and I'm going to treat myself to a day off pretty much everything. I've got some houseworky things to do, like laundry. I'm going to have to look after the chickens, clean out their coop and all the usual daily chicken chores. And I need to just pop to the shops, which I'm going to do now. But I think the rest of the day I'm going to spend just sitting as much as possible and resting. I am not feeling myself. I don't want to get too navel gazy or bring anyone down. I'm just having a real kind of moment of losing all confidence in what I do. You know, whether it's in my day job or just in life generally, and what I do here on YouTube. And I know it's silly, but I've just started comparing myself to others, questioning my goals and my motivation behind things. And I think, you know, we all talk about rest and recharge and giving yourself time to do the things you love, and I haven't really been doing that. I've just been running from one sort of project to the next, and even though I've been having a nice time this year, I just feel I've maybe taken on a bit too much, spread myself a bit too thin. Last night I didn't do any of the things that I said I was going to work on. I did completely different. I finished my squares for my Green Lambkin Yarn Blanket Club. So I spoke about this on my last podcast. I've got the Green Lambkin Yarn Blanket Club for the second time running this year. I've still got to complete my project from last year. I've done all of my, I'm making the Weekender blanket by Sandra of Cherry Heart, who I'm going to mention again in a minute when I talk about this. And I've done all of my hexagons, they're all done. I just need to decide on a joining colour and join them, which is something I'm really looking forward to doing. I need to lay them all out. I might do that at the weekend if I get a chance, just lay them out on the floor and look and think, right, what colour do I need to join them, and go from there. But these are my first 4 squares. You get 20 grams of DK, 4 times 20 grams of DK yarn every month. This is the January ones. And I'm going to make something called the Dolphin Blue. Well, I'm using the Dolphin Blue blanket as a guide. I'll link the pattern underneath. It's free. It's by the Crochet Swirl, I think. But I'll put all the details underneath. So it's a basic granny square, which you turn at the end of each round to make sure it's nice and square. So that's number 1. That's number 2, 3. And the last one I worked on last night was this one. And I'm going to get, early on this year, I'm going to get a colour to join them with, and they're all going to have that as a border, as a final round. And I've got these little ones left over. So I've worked out I'm going to have maybe about 5 grams left each month of each colour. So that's interesting. I'm going to put those all in a little bag until I work out what I can do with those as a little extra project. Any ideas, let me know. Maybe a hat or something. I can just do a stripy hat or DK socks or something. I don't know. I've also got behind me Froggo. I want to take some photographs of Froggo today for Instagram. I love him. I went to the Waltham Abbey Wool Show at the beginning of the year. I met Bex at the Pigeon's Nest. Look at his eyes, they've gone all wonky. It's so funny. He looks drunk half the time. At the Pigeon's Nest for the first time. I've never seen her at a yarn show before. Fell in love with Froggo, and she has decreed that this year, 2025, is year of Froggo. Although I'm calling mine, I think, Froggle. She, he, they is going to be Froggle. And every month she's doing a different outfit. I've already made the first 2 outfits. So for January she has a yoga outfit, and for February a jumper with a heart on, and I've made both of those. So I'm going to take some photographs, which I'm sure you'll see later. And I've just finished taking photographs of my Getting Ziggy, my finished Getting Ziggy, which means it's officially finished, photographed and ready to wrap up in. It's another ginormous triangular shanklet. I'll put all the details of the pattern underneath, but if you follow me on Instagram, I'll put all the details there. I'll put a little thing up on the screen so you can see it held up, because there's no point in me trying to do it here sitting on the floor. I love a big triangular shawl blanket. It's the perfect thing for snuggling up in when you're reading or crocheting or watching telly. Love it. These get used a lot, these shapes. And it's so nice. I love it. And the yarn is the Created Yarn Company in the Retro Chic Cocktail Party Advent. I think she might still have some in her shop, you know, because I think she pre-dyed some. I had a look at her shop this morning. I didn't go and have a look, but it might be worth, if she's got some available, I'll check and I'll link it underneath, because she might still have some available to buy. And it is gorgeous. Oh, look at those. Look at that edge. Oh, I love it. And I love how I just finished on that gold colour just to finish it off. Oh, so happy. Yeah, so I'm going to go to the shops, get all of the boring stuff done, put the washing in the machine and all of the chores, and then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to work on my bibbidi bobbidi socks. And I need to eat something because I'm hungry. After lunch, I'm sitting on Crochet Hexagons. If that doesn't cheer me up, I don't know what will. I've just watched Dolce Vita. It's a rom-com thing on Netflix. It was a bit rubbish, but I enjoyed it. It was nice to see the Italian countryside and hear the Italian language. I've only ever been to Italy once, but I'm not going to start going off on a tangent. I spent the whole time arranging and rearranging my hexagons for my weekend art. First of all, I put them all out just completely and utterly randomly. Yeah, I didn't like that. And then I put them in one order of colour, and then I put them in another order of colour. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to group them in the colours in their, you know, in their, so like where I've got 5 of hexagons of the same colour, I'm going to group them like that. It just works better with my brain, I think. But I still don't know what colour I'm going to use to join them. I don't want to use grey or cream or black or brown or anything like that. I'm wondering if maybe a sort of nice petrol-y blue or a sage green or something like that. I'm going to take some pictures and then sort of compare them next to colours on my screen. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm watching Love Again now. It's another Netflix film. I don't know who's in it. It's only been on for about 2 minutes, but I've got a feeling that the whole thing is about how she loses her fiance. So I reckon the guy on the screen here is about to meet his maker. I'm going to watch that whilst contemplating colours. Oh, and I've got some post. I've got to show you some post. So Julie, lovely Jules, who's next on my sofa, lives in Preston, which is where our eldest daughter Lilia went to university. And last year, or the year before, she won a prize. I think it was Strictly Sock Along or another make along that I did. And when she sent her address to have the prize sent, I realised she was in Preston, and I was about to go to Preston when Lilia was going on an open day to see the university. So I said, if it's not too weird, do you want me to just drop it through your door? And she said, well, we can go one better than that. Why don't we meet up for a cuppa? So we did. We met up for tea and cake, and then she gave me the most fabulous tour of her hometown, where she's lived her whole life in Preston, and really gave me a feel for the city, which was so lovely because it gave me a real feel for where Lilia might be moving to, and eventually did, and made me feel really confident in the place where she was going to go. And by the way, Lilia loves it. Absolutely loves Preston. So yeah, so I was going to give her a text when I went to run Lilia back after Christmas, but I was just so ill, and I wouldn't have been able to eat or drink anything, and I didn't really want to spread my germs. So hopefully I might see her at Easter if our daughters are exactly the same age. That's the other thing. So her daughter is exactly the same age as Lilia and is also in her first year at university, not in Preston though. Anyway, you don't need to know all of that, but she sent me a lovely little present, and this is so funny because this is the Attic Spin Die toadstool set I should say, and I love this, and I've just given one of these away as a Strictly prize. And the problem when I do the Strictly Sock Along and I'm sending out all these lovely prizes is I do get insanely jealous of the things I'm sending out. So when I opened this I was like, oh my goodness, I've just sent one of these out. I had to let it go, and now I've got my own, and it comes with a pattern. She said you don't need to make the actual pattern. It's really kitsch and cute. It uses the mini set, so it's a bit crushed from the post, but look, it's all frilly. Oh, I love it. I might have to do that just for fun, you know. It's just fun to do something different, isn't it? I bet Lilia might like those. That's so cute. So thank you, Jules. Oh, love that. And a little toadstool stitch marker as well. Hello there, it is Friday night and I'm smiling, and I've got a red nose out of nowhere. I don't even have a cold. I get this quite a lot, but I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm just going to stay kind of back from the camera. I've been home from work for about 7 minutes, and already I'm in bed in my pyjamas, bra off. I'm so happy it's Friday today. It's still light outside. Got the window, I mean I think sunset's going to be any minute. I have to go and check my almanac, but yeah, still light outside. So I've come upstairs because I want to get myself sorted. I have got my knitting. Not that I've worked on that at all this week, but yesterday when I got home from work, I sorted out all of my threads for my temperature cross stitch, which is all living in this lovely cross stitch bag that I bought myself from Ness Crafts on Etsy. I shall link them underneath. And I sorted out all of my threads and then realised that I've missed one out. There's a blue one to go in, so I'll have to reorder them a little bit. But look, they're looking good, aren't they? So these are my coldest colours here, going through getting warmer. This is just how I see temperatures in the colours I see them. And this is the hottest one, this very dark red. I showed this in my last podcast, but I'm going to flash it at you again, just in case you haven't seen that. I'm making a temperature cross stitch by Climbing Goat Designs. So if you can hear the dehumidifier, by the way. I love the noise of the dehumidifier. It makes, I could have it on all night. It's just such a nice brown noise. Where's the picture of it? Come on, here it is. Okay. That's what it looks like on a white background, and you go from top and you kind of go zigzagging along. So you start with the colder months in January. Well, if you're in the northern hemisphere, and then you zigzag along until you get to the warmer months, and then you get all the way to the end of the year, and the last 4 colours are in the year. There, that's what I'm doing. So I've got all of my colours. Now I've got to work out what they're going to represent. Now there's a lot of information in this pattern. This pattern is so detailed, so I'm going to sit here and read it and work out. I've written down all of my DMC colours here. I've got to work out what temperatures they're all going to represent. I want to make sure I use all of my colours. So, and I've done a bit of research into like the high and lowest temperatures over the past couple of years. It's been quite tricky to find historical data for my exact area. So I'm going to wing it on some of it as well, and we'll just see how we go. So I'm going to sit here and do that, and hopefully, finally, 2 months into the year, make a stop. I'm back downstairs now, and while I've got a little bit of light and before we have our Friday night pizza, I thought I'd just show you. These arrived today. These are 2 of my contenders for joining together my weekender hexagons. I've got them all laid out in piles here. I'm not sure. So these are both Crochet DK, and I got this particular one because it's exactly the same makeup as the DK for this, but it looks thinner to me. It might just be because it's in this kind of loose skein. I'll have to compare it with the yarn. Yeah, so it's Coupe Knit Crochet DK. It is 75% fine superwash merino wool, 25% nylon, and this is the colour Beryl, and this is the colour Petalite. This looked much less beige on the website, so I'm not sure about that. So that was going to be my option for neutral, and this was going to be my option for something a bit different. I asked my bunch of crafty friends, and they were kind of 50-50 split. Dan's here, what do you think?
What? Sorry?
I need a colour that I'm going to use to join all of the hexagons. What do you think? The blue or a more neutral colour? It'll be just like a thin trail between.
Looking at them, I think the neutral colour's got more tonal resonance with the hexagons.
Oh my goodness!
But the tealy blue is a nicer colour.
Yeah, I don't really like this. It's hard to show. It's kind of, I don't know. It reminds me of horrible old blankets. Might be nice for socks, some DK socks or something, or a hat. It looks really nice on the screen, but it's a lot more sort of beigey in real life. As far as the threads go, I've decided I need about 10 more colours to start my cross stitch. I'm going to go to Hobbycraft tomorrow morning, so I will be back then when I am shopping. Hello, happy Saturday. I am it's quite late. It's about, what time is it? It's 5 o'clock. I've just made a cup of lapsang souchong tea for me and a normal one for Dan. Phoebe's off out to a sleepover tonight. Her best friend's brother is turning 18 and she's been invited to his party, and they'll be having a sleepover as well. So we're probably going to go out. We're going to go to Spoons.
Spoon, you'll leave it up large.
Yeah. But we're going to combine that with a walk. We can walk into town. So that'll be quite good to get my miles in. I went out earlier. You would have seen me. I went to Hobbycraft. I spent way too much money on embroidery thread, but I'm now good to go. And I came back and I sat for ages working out where I was going to put the new colours I picked up for my temperature cross stitch. and I punched a load of holes in a card like my sister told me to do. Wrote all the numbers. So this is the coldest ones up here. I've started with, I've got 0 and then -1 and below, and then the warmest it goes up to is I've got one that's 30 degrees plus and one that's 35 degrees plus, and I've done my maximum and minimum temperatures based on maximum and minimum temperatures we've had here in the last few years. A few years ago we had a really cold spell, didn't we, where it was about -4 Celsius this is. And then a couple of years ago, the worst year of my life, the worst summer of my life, it went up to 40 degrees and all the trees died. It was just hideous. So let's hope we never have to use that colour. Yes, I've got these all and I've made a start. I've got it all set up. I've got my hoop. I might have to get a square hoop because this is a bit awkward. I've measured it. I've made sure I've got plenty of the Ada. I'm using a 14 count Ada, so I should get something that's about 11 by 11 inches. And this lovely Ada is dyed, hand dyed. It was a gift a little while ago. I think it was from Sarah. I think that's right. And it's by firepoppies.com. This is the little tag that was on it. It's called Stormy Night, and she sent me quite a few, so I had them all laid out to try and decide which one I wanted to go for that would show up the colours well. But also I thought Stormy Night, that kind of stormy grey background, is a really nice background for a temperature chart. So I've got my first 5 temperatures on here. So this is the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th of January. And the way you do it is you start here and then you work along, down, along, down, along, down, along, down. So the 1st of January was, let's look at my silly little book that I've got here. So we start the 1st of January with the green square, and that was quite a warm start to the year at 11 degrees Celsius. Then the 2 little blue leaves are the 2nd and 3rd, that was 4 degrees Celsius both days. And then the 4th of January was 3 degrees, which is that really light blue. And then on the 5th of January, we went all the way back up to 12 degrees, which is that other green. Having so much fun. This is just my kind of project. I love monitoring things like weather and temperatures and writing it down, and this is just ideal. So I've got a lot of catching up to do. I've got a whole 2 months worth. I'm going to drink my tea and sit and do this, and then we're going to the pub. It is Monday. I didn't film at all yesterday. We had a lovely evening, Dan and I, on Saturday, and actually we ended up having a bit of a business planning meeting, kind of like we were talking about the things that I want to do on my channel, and really had a good chat about it. It was really, really nice and creative, and it was quite nice to talk to someone else about it face to face. Because sometimes if you're I'm sure many of you that watch this have your own YouTube channels or your own creative businesses, sometimes you can feel a little bit on your own. I've got some lovely, lovely YouTubey crafty friends who I can chat with. But it's just really nice to be able to chat to my husband about it. So that was really nice. And I'm full of ideas and how I want, how I'm going to organise things. So that feels really inspiring. And thank you so much for watching this little week in my making life. I think it's going to be about 45 minutes. Don't know when to shut up, do I? So I just thought I'd finish off by saying, so it's been good, hasn't it? We've, what have I got done? I finished my Getting Ziggy, blocked it, and it's all ready on the sofa. You can probably just see it, just here. We've been wrapping up at it every evening. It's been really chilly here, really freezing at night. And I made my little ugly blanket for the donkey, which has now been received by my sister, who, as predicted, was very grateful for the donkey and the ugly blanket. What else did we get done? Oh, we organised the hexagons. I have decided I don't like either of those colours that I ordered. I mean, I like them, but not for that. I think I'm going to go for either a very, very, very pale grey mauve colour, or, no, I think that's what I'm going to do, or extremely pale pink. But I'm going to have to make a decision because at the moment, since I've laid them out, they've stayed on the living room floor. My crafts are slowly taking over the whole house. And I have completed the whole of January on my temperature cross stitch by Climbing Goat Designs. Am I going to... Yeah, let's do that. There you go. So we started up here. You can't see January's now around the corner. The 1st of January's now around the corner. So we're working in zigzags. So this here is the 31st. By the way, my little needle minder here, which is a magnet to keep your needle on, is from Hoops and Crosses. Sorry, it completely left my mind then. Hoops and Crosses. I'll link her underneath. She's a brilliant cross-stitch designer. I'm so happy with this. I have loved working on this. This is just my kind of project. I love recording things like the weather and to do it in a creative way. And these little motifs are just so quick. So now I just have to catch up with February and I'll be up to date. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching this. Don't forget, if you did like this video, to hit the like button. It really, really helps tell the algorithm, that menacing algorithm, that you have enjoyed your visit with me today, and that helps my videos get out there in front of other people. So thank you very much for watching. I think I've already said that about 50 times, and I will see you in the next video. Happy crocheting, happy knitting. Bye. Hook.